This is the video on result clauses. So I'm looking at this sentence that I've written here, and I see tua mater. What's that? Your mama. Est is, and then Tom is, we've had this word I think a few times, but so is so pinguis. Tua mater est so pinguis. And pinguis is like what penguins have, and that means fat. So your mama is so fat. What comes next? How fat is she? So fat that, so ut here will mean that because of the setup with the so. So fat that a proconsul, that's like a governor of a whole province, like Greece, that a governor, regere, we've had this before, means to rule, that a governor rules her. Ha 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 ha! Your mama's so fat that a governor rules her. Okay, I hope you find that amusing. So she's like as big as a province. Ha 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 ha. Okay, but basically what we've set up is a result clause. So we have a main sentence. Your mama is so fat. And you want to know, because of that, because we said so fat, we have this adverb here that sets us up. We want to know how fat. So fat, and here's the result. The result of her being so fat is that a proconsul governs her. Ha 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 ha. Okay. I hope you guys are having fun with this. I am. And then that verb in the result clause, if it's regere, short ere, what does this a mean? Yeah, that means it's subjunctive. So that's what one of our uses, a dependent use, a use of a subjunctive in a subordinate clause that we can add to our list. So now we have three. We have indirect questions. We have cum clauses, and now we have result clauses. And so a result clause explains the result of the main action. So let's get that down. Okay, so it explains the result or the consequence of the main action. And it's in terms of its form, we're going to have two things. We're going to have a main clause. And in that main clause, we have to have something like Tom, or in this chapter, we also got adeo. So Tom, adeo. We could have the word tot, meaning so many. We could have seek or ita. All of these can mean so. So much, so many, so. We could also have tantus, which would be so great. So we've got a lot of different options here. Any of these adverbs or adjectives, so we need an adjective or an adverb that indicates size or extent. So these are some examples of possible adjectives. Then part two, the next part, we're going to have the actual result clause itself. And that will have ut, or if it's negative, it would be ut known plus a verb in the subjunctive. So that's the actual result clause, but here's the part that sets it up in the main clause. So this, though, is the actual result clause, introduced by ut and containing a verb in the subjunctive. So let's look at some examples. So here again is that slide where I discussed the function. The function explains the result or the consequence of the main action. And in form, to set it up, this is the setup. We need to have a main sentence with some kind of adjective or adverb that indicates size or extent. And then for the actual result clause, we're going to have ut, or ut and any normal negative. So known kind of stands in for any normal negative plus a subjunctive. All right, so for your practice, I want you to identify the result clause in both of these sentences and then translate the sentence. So do that for homework. and bring those in tomorrow, and that's what we're going to start with tomorrow. So I'm going to expect that you have these sentences written down, that you have identified the result clause, and that you have translated the sentences. Thank you. So this is the chapter 50 story that you read while I was gone, and I'm reading through starting at the very beginning, and I'm looking for an ut. Oh, I see one right there. So I've got ut, and I'm going to keep on going, ayam, widayam, and I need to check to see if my verb, right there, if that verb is subjunctive. So think about that EA. What does that mean? Yeah, that's a present, hold on one second. It's a present active subjunctive. From the M, I know that it's also first person and singular. And then so I've got the pieces that I need for my result clause. And then here I've got the tantum that's going to set it off. So ut am num quam videam is the actual result, and it's a result of this action right here, aget. So let's go ahead and read this sentence together. Pater, father, aget temporis would be like spends time, spends tantum time. So much time in his study. How much time? So much time ut that videam I see, but I numquam see, I never see him. So what's the result of the fact that father spends so much time in his study? That Cornelia never sees him. And this is told first person, so that's why it's that I never see him. So if we're continuing to read on, we're looking for another result clause. I see, keep reading, and I see mater tua occupata, mater tam. That's one of those adjectives or adverbs, an adverb in this case, that might set up a result clause. Mother is tam occupata, so busy. There it is. Ut mecum nunquam loquator, that she never, loquors, she never speaks mecum with me. Let's see if we've got another one. Marcus et Sextus suis ludis adeo dediti. Ooh, adeo, that might be helpful. Marcus and Sextus dediti sunt, are given over, are dedicated to their studies adeo. So much. How much are they given over to their studies? So much that nihil aliud faciant. They do, facio, they do nothing else. So we've got 3 subjunctives there. So I'll point those out to you. We've got videam, we have loquator, and we have faciant, all inside of result clauses. So you see the ut plus the subjunctive. And that's basically what we're doing. If we want to explain the result of the main verb, we're putting together ut and a subjunctive.